Hi everyone, I'm Needlecraft Danny. This is Flosstube Extra. It's a Wip Parade and plans for 2023. I just did my update video that should be uploaded now. And now I'm here to talk to you, as I said, about everything I did in 2022, about the whips I take with me into 2023 and my plans for 2023 with those whips and with some new starts. So, during this video, first I'm going to talk about the finishes I had in 2022, which there are 8, which is pretty amazing. 8 finishes is really nice. Then I'm talking about all my whips. I have 10 more whips left. Then we're talking about my plans for 2023 with everything that is included in there. So I'm going to show you my bullet journal, so how I keep track of everything and stuff like that. And lastly, I'm going to talk to you about my plans for next week. So basically, what I'm going to stitch on until my next update video in tomorrow in a week. So yeah, let's get started. And first, we're going to start with my finishes in 2022. As I said, I have 8 of them. 7 are non-full coverage. 1 is a full coverage. I'm going to show them to you in the order I finished them. So the one I finished first, I'm going to show you first. And for all of those projects, I'm going to show you a picture of what they look like at the beginning of 2022. So basically, you can see what I stitched on in a year. Yeah, let's get started. The first one is Hello Petal by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. And here is a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of 2022. And this is the finished piece. So this one is stitched on 28 count even weave. I stitched it 1/1 full crosses. It was started on the 29th of October in 2021 and on the 6th of March 2022, so about 5 months later, I finished it. This is part of a series. So basically, there is a tree for every season. This is the spring tree, and I have finished all of them. For all of them, I got the kit from Caterpillar Cross Stitch. That's why there's so much margin on my fabric. I ordered the 28 count even weave, and Sally, the owner of Caterpillar Cross Stitch, intends you to stitch 2/2 full crosses on the 28 count even weave. I decided to go with 1/1 full crosses, and therefore there's a lot of fabric and thread left over. The thread I put into my DMC box with all my other thread, because Sally actually puts the DMC number next to the colors, and therefore I could just put it into my master set of DMC. So yeah, and that's the finish. Very cute. As I said, it was the last tree I finished. All season trees are now done. I planned to sew them into cushions or pillows, but that just did not happen yet. Yeah, here we go. Hello Petal. My first finish of the year 2022. I'm going to roll all of those up when I'm done talking to you, because otherwise I will have so much stuff lying around here. It's enough as it is, and I kind of have to keep everything a little bit tidied up, otherwise I go crazy. Okay, next project was Tiger Chilling Out, which is a kit by Dimensions, and here's a picture of what it looked like beginning of 2022. And this is the finished piece. So, as I said, kit by Dimensions, I stitched with the kit fabric, which is an 18 count black Aida, and all the kit threads. The tiger itself was supposed to be stitched with 2 or 3 strands of floss over 1. But so basically, for those brighter colors, the white and the light yellows, you were supposed to take 3 strands of floss. And the first time those colors came about, I totally forgot and just did 2, which I think is fine. The coverage is still very good, and I don't think you need that 3rd strand. So I was fine with that and did not frog anymore. So yeah, that's the tiger. So basically the whole tiger is stitched 2/1. And down here in the reflections and in the water, it is 1, 2, or 3 strands of floss over one with a 10 stitch. Yeah. This was stitched as my second cross stitch project ever, about 2 weeks after I started with cross stitching. So in April 2019. And I finished it on the 5th of April in 2022. So about 3 years for my tiger chilling out finish. Very beautiful project. This one I planned to give to my parents when I was done, but I since talked to them and they don't want it. So I'm going to have to think about what to do with this project. Maybe in this room. It kind of fits in with the color scheme. So that might help. So yeah, that was finish number 2. And then we move on to my next finish, which was only about a week later. And that was the Twisted Band Sampler by Northern Express and Needlework. And I'm going to put a picture of what it looked like last time here. And here is the finished piece. I don't think I had that much left. The end of 2021 to finish off in 2022. But yeah, what was left I did finish up, and here is now that one. In this pattern, there is a conversion for, sorry, I have to drink something. I got a really dry throat suddenly, so yeah, now it's better. So in the pattern for this one, there is a conversion for Orvera Swath threads, dinky dies, and DMC. I decided to go with the dinky dies and then stitch as indicated. Basically, this whole pattern consists out of cross stitch bands and specialty stitches bands alternating. And the cross stitch bands you were supposed to stitch 1 over 2 full crosses on my 32 count white opalescent linen. So I did that, and most of the specialty stitches use 1 strand of floss as well. I think the satin stitches in band number 10 were 2 strands, and I think that's it. I think the rest was actually with 1 strand of floss. So yeah, that's that. It's very beautiful. I've seen pictures and seen it in other flosstube videos as well with the DMC colors, and that looks amazing as well. So yeah, you could always do that as well. Okay, that's the Twisted Band Sampler. And then I finished the Mirabilia, a small one. But I finished Royal Games number 2 by Mirabilia. And here's a picture of what it looked like the beginning of 2022. And this is where I got to. So this one is stitched on a 32 count white opalescent linen as well. 2 over 2 for crosses, all the called for materials, so beads and crannic and everything. It was started on the 10th of January in 2021, and I finished it on the 30th of May 2022. This is also part of a set. It's called Royal Games number 2. Royal Games number 1 I finished as well back in 2020. I think I finished that one. This is another project. Together with its companion piece, I wanted to frame and gift to my parents because they had board game evenings with friends of theirs. Now those evenings aren't happening anymore, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with those yet. Probably going to hang them up in my house because they are very beautiful. Very beautiful. So Royal Games number 2. Halfway through with the finishes. Next one is one I really, really, really love. Probably one of my favorite projects ever. It is Sleepy Hollow by Glendon Place, and I'm going to show you a picture of what it looked like the beginning of 2022 here. And this is the finished piece. Very, very beautiful. This one is stitched with all the called for materials and on the called for fabric, which was a 28 count casual linen in the colorway Haunted by Pictureless Plus. I stitched it with 2 over 2 full crosses, all the called for beads, cranics. The moon is a current water lilies called lemon and lime, I think. And on this one, there was it was charted in Anchor, and there was a conversion for DMC and one for Sullivan's USA. But Anchor is actually pretty easy to get here in Germany, probably even easier than to get than DMC. And it was charted in Anchor, so I decided to go with the Anchor colors, and yeah, it looks amazing. Those colors pop so much on the fabric. It's really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Yeah, I love that. Another one I really have to get up in a frame to have it displayed in my house. Oh, I did not tell you. This one was stitched or started on the 31st of October in 2019 as a Halloween project, and I finished it on the 10th of August 2022. I would have loved to finish it on Halloween as well, but I kind of just was done with it and did not want to drag it out for another 2.5 months just to finish it off on Halloween. That wasn't worth it. So I didn't. Yeah, that's that. Okay, next is another Mirabilia. This time it's a big one actually. It is Raven Queen by Mirabilia, and here's a picture of what it looked like beginning of 2022. And this is where I got to, or this is my finish. She is stitched on a Belfast linen, 32 count, and I stitched 2 over 2 for crosses. It is some kind of gray. The fabric is some kind of gray. I'm not sure which, because back then I did not keep track, so I can't tell you that. But I think the fabric fits really good, so I'm happy with that. She was started on the 8th of October 2019 and finished 14th of November 2022. So again, about 3 years stitching for this one. A lot of beads, a lot of cranic, all as called for, except I did one tiny change. Basically, those ravens, they both had an eye charted with a French knot. If you've been here on my channel for a little bit longer, you may know I do not do French knots. I can't do them. I try to learn a lot of times. I watched a ton of videos to learn them, and I just seem to be unable to do them. So I did not do a French knot, and it decided when I'm doing the beading, I just put some beads in as eyes. And of course, when I got around to beads, I totally forgot. So in the end, I decided I actually really like the look without any eyes on the raven, so I'm not doing those. And yeah, that's what I decided to do, and this is Raven Queen in all her glory. She's so beautiful. Yeah, another one I really want to get up in my house, but yeah. I'm really bad at FFOing stuff. I love stitching, so thinking about how to frame something, how to get the materials, all that stuff just takes time away from my stitching. So I much rather just continue stitching on new projects than FFO the old ones, which is a problem because I have a ton of projects that are not fully finished. They just lie there finished up in their rows and not doing anything with those. So I really have to get around to do that. Okay, my next finish is my only full coverage finish this year, but it is a full coverage finish this year, so I'm very happy about that. Also because it's the first full coverage I ever started. The project is Color in Mountains by Golden Kite, and here's a picture of what it looked like the beginning of 2022. And this is the finished piece. I'm very happy about that. This one is stitched in 25 count even weave, and it is now stitched 2 over 1 10 stitch. Back when I started this piece on the 1st of May in 2019, I started with 2 over 1 full cross, and after about 80 stitches I realized that's not going to happen. I do not like that at all. So I ripped everything out and basically at the same time restitched it just 10 stitches further down in that first block, and that was on the 5th of June 2019, so that's the date of my restart. And I then continued with 2/1 10 stitch. For my full coverage pieces this year or last year, I had stitch count goals as my year-end goals for all of them, and with this one I knew I wanted to have to finish, so I estimated I needed around 30,000 more stitches. All my golden kites are not in pattern keeper but instead on a paper pattern, and therefore I had to estimate how much I was still left. In the end it came to 28,000 something stitches still missing, so I was quite close with my stitch count estimate. And yeah, that's Colorado Mountains now. Very, very beautiful. Very happy I got a full coverage finish this year or last year. And yeah, it's just so beautiful. And it's the first full coverage project I ever started, and now it's done. After about 3.5 years. So it took me a while, but for full coverage, that's totally okay. Okay, and now to my last finish for 2022, which I finished quite late in the year, but that was to be expected. The project is Cinderella Rex Riches by John Elliott, and this is a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of 2022. And this is where I got to. Or this is my finish. So I did all of Cinderella in Riches this year, which was a lot of stitching. And I'm very happy that I managed to get it done. This project was started as my birthday project on the 16th of June in 2020. And I finished it on the 14th of December 2022. So just 2.5 years for this project. That's totally fine. This is stitched on a 28 count casual linen in the color Fog by Pictures Plus. I stitched it 2/2 crosses with all the called for materials and beads. And yeah, bring it a little bit closer. So this is Cinderella in Rex. She is very beautiful. And then Cinderella in Riches, the one I stitched this year, and she just has a ton of sparkle. So a lot of beads and chronic backstitching down here and all over here, and yeah, very, very beautiful, the whole project. I'm really sorry this is super complicated to show just because it's so big and so wide, but I'm very happy I'm finished. Yeah, just very happy I'm finished, and very beautiful piece. And that was my last finish for 2022. So I'm now going to get reorganized, and then I will be back to show you all my whips that I still have, and that I take with me into 2023. As I said, 10 whips, so I'm going to get those and be right back. Okay, I'm back with my whips. I'm going to show them in the order I started them, so oldest is going to be first, and then we move on from there. Especially because last year was the year of the oldest project, meaning the older the project is, the more stitches I did on that project. I'm going to show you a picture of what the project looked like at the beginning of 2022, and I'm going to tell you the approximate stitch count I did last year, so basically what my stitch count goal was, and on all of them I went a bit above. On Mini Cinderella, for example, I did quite a bit more because I stitched a lot on her during that last week of 2022. So yeah, that's the way we're going to go, and that's how we're doing that. So let's get started with my now oldest full coverage as I finished Colorado Mountains. Now my oldest full coverage piece is the Chimney Sweep. It's also a golden kite. This is going to be the finished piece. And I show you a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of 2022 here. And this is that right now. So as I said, it is my oldest full coverage piece now. I started it on the 13th of May in 2019. And I'm stitching this one on a 25 count light blue even weave, 2/1 10 stitch, needleminders from Denker Designs. And I'm stitching this extreme cross country. So basically I took the first page and I'm moving through that first page in columns, top to bottom, left to right. Whatever stitch or color is missing, I do that over the whole design. So over the last year, I did a lot more up here in that off-white colors, and I slowly get to some darker colors and made some structure in those buildings. So yeah, overall I did about 11,000 stitches. So 11,000 stitches was my year-end goal last year, and I managed to do that, and as I said, a little bit more just because I did a bit more on all of my projects. So overall this project has, I think, about 52,000 stitches. So 11,000, that's a lot. About 20%. So that's a lot of stitching, and I'm very happy with that. Yeah, that's the Jiminy Sweep. Can't wait to do some more on this one this year. I'm going to talk about that later on in this video, so probably in the next segment. But I don't really have any goals for next year, so we'll see how much I can actually do on all of my projects. It's kind of an experiment for this year. Okay, next oldest project is another golden kite. This is Norwegian Ship Under Sail. This is the small edition. There is a bigger one on the website for me. This one had enough detail. And as I said, it's my next oldest one. It was started on the 4th of June in 2019. Here's a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of 2022. And this is where I got to. So I did a lot on this project. I did over 10,000 stitches, so that's great. It is stitched on an 18 count antique white Ada. I'm stitching 2/1 4 crosses, needleminder from Denker Designs. And I think I wasn't at that page, or maybe that page, the beginning of last year. I did not look it up actually. I think probably that page. So I finished that, stitched this page down here, and moved back up to page number 4, and am now stitching over there some more. Gorgeous piece. Can't wait to move through that diagonal I'm now stitching on, because that will get me to that bottom row where there's just a lot of water, and I'm really looking forward to that. Those colors are amazing. So yeah, as I said, 10,000 stitches last year, which means I think close to 10%, which is also quite nice. Yeah, that's Norwegian Ship. This is the project. As I said, my golden kites are all on paper patterns. So this one is actually the most complicated one. I think it has about 200 colors, which is just crazy. A lot of them are blended colors, and that means just a lot of confetti, which means I take quite some time to get something done on this project. But it turns out so amazing that I'm fine with that. Okay, this one is super complicated to roll back up. So I'm sorry if I'm taking some time over here. Okay. Then we move on to the next oldest. And if you notice, all my whips are full coverage ones. That's actually true. I don't have any non-full coverage whips anymore. It's all full coverage here and out. I'm going to start a few non-full coverages soonish. But my whips at the moment are all full coverage. The next one is Mini Magic Mirror. It's charted by Haven of Designs. The artwork's by Anne Stokes, and I think it is now retired. I couldn't find it on the website anymore, and I know that a few of Anne Stokes' older charts have been retired, so this might have been retired now. Yeah, so let me show a picture of what it looked like beginning of 2022 here. And this is where I got to. So I finished that first row of pages and moved down into that page over here. I'm stitching this project page by page, basically, going through the columns from top to bottom, left to right, picking the first symbol that's missing, doing one length of thread, and then moving on. Except for black, I'm leaving off all the black until the rest of the page is completely done, and then I fill in all of the black. Especially up here, that was really nice. I have to think about if I change that down here because there's just not that much black anymore. This one was started on the 2nd of August 2019, and I wanted to do 9,000 stitches this year, so that's what I did. It is stitched on a 28 count Lugana. I'm stitching 2/1 10 stitch, and the needle minder is from Just So Heavenly. Yeah, very beautiful. That's Mini Magic Mirror. And now all the rest of the projects are going to be Heaven and Earth designs, actually. So I only have 2 golden kites left. All my other projects at the moment are Heaven and Earth designs. The next one is also artwork by N. Stokes. It's called Dragon Dancer, also charted by Heaven and Earth designs. And I think it is retired as well. So yeah, this is a big project. As you can see, the dimensions are down here. So this one will be with me for a few years down the road. So here's a picture of what it looked like beginning 2022. And this is where I got to. So this one was started on the 5th of August in 2019. I wanted to do 8,000 stitches this year. And it is stitched on a 32 count white linen by Zweigart. And I'm stitching 2/1 10 stitches. I think I finished that page, and I'm now stitching on this page over here. So that's that. And slowly I'm getting out of that tree in the background, out of that pinkish blob, and getting into a few of those more interesting things. For example, starting with the dragon, at least a little bit. So that's nice. Yeah, that's my dragon answer. I think I said everything I wanted to say. Yeah, I did. Okay. Moving that one up as well. And then we move on to 4 Seasons. This is artwork by Jesse Gerka, and I'm not going to say charted by Heaven and Earth Designs for all of my projects from now on. They are all charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. Yeah, 4 Seasons. And 4 Seasons was picture of 2022. Four Seasons was started on the 9th of August in 2019, and I did 7,000 stitches this year. So I'm stitching this one in 20 by 20 blocks, moving over the whole width of the pattern, then moving 1 row down and doing the same thing again. In 2022, I finished the 2nd row of those 20 by 20 blocks and started in on the 3rd row. It is stitched on a 25 count cream linen, and I'm stitching 1/1 full crosses needleminder from Denka Designs. Yeah, can't wait to move further along on this one. It is beautiful. Very beautiful. Okay, yeah, that's 4 Seasons. I don't have a lot of stuff to say for each of my projects, so it's kind of fast. Faster than I thought it would be. So that's that. I'm going to roll that one up later because that's super complicated to roll. Yeah, we're going to move on with my next one. This is this is artwork by Melanie Dallon, and it's called Story Keep the Frog Prince. This is going to be the finished piece, and here's a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of 2022. And here is Starry Cube the Frog Prince. So basically with this one, I'm stitching in diagonals of 10 by 10 blocks. And I did quite a few and managed to get into her face and her dress, and yeah. She was started on the 11th of August and I did 7,000 stitches on her this year. Yeah, she's beautiful. She really is. Can't wait to get more done on her, to just finish off her face. Yeah, looking forward to that. This is stitched on a 32 count light blue linen, and I'm stitching 2 over 1 10 stitches. Needleminders from Denka Designs. Yeah. She's going to be super long. I think she's 600 stitches high, something like that. So super long. But we're getting there. Yeah. I feel like I should say so much more about each of those projects, but I just can't because I told you everything. So yeah, if I forget something, I'm really sorry about that. It feels like I do, but I don't think I do. So I don't know. Okay. Now let's move on to Mini Katie and Cruncher. This one is artwork by Hannah Lynn, and it's a very cute shark. And I show you a picture of what it looked like beginning of 2022 here. And this is Mini Katie and Cruncher now. She is stitched on a 25 count even weave, and I'm stitching 2 over 1 10 stitch needle minder from Denka Designs. She was started on the 18th of August in 2019, and I did 6,000 stitches on her this year. And this one is a little bit complicated to explain what I'm doing with her and how I stitch her. Basically, I stitch in columns 11 blocks high, so 1,100 stitches high, and I move those columns along until I get to the point where I reach the end of the last columns. That means the next column is then 300 stitches higher, so actually 1,400, and then they start to get smaller. And I stitch on them as long as they get smaller until I reach 400 stitches high, and that's the smallest column I do on that one. When I reached that point, I went back down again and did another 1,100 stitches high column, which wasn't possible anymore because that's the end of the page. That's the bottom left corner. So that's why I did the second column also until the bottom, because now I'm at 1,100 stitches again and I'm going to move up. That's basically the plan. A little bit complicated to explain the way I stitch her, but yeah, now I'm looking forward to moving back up, getting to her face again, but also stitching a lot in the shark and finally doing something in the shark. So yeah, that's exciting and it looks amazing. So I can't wait to get back to her. Once again, a little bit complicated to put that fabric away, so you just have to bear with me. I do know that, as I said, I did 6,000 stitches on her this year, but I do know that I did at least 1,000 stitches more, because in that, during September, when I stitched on all of my projects once again, I know I did more than 1,000 stitches on her. So she got some nice progress in this year. Okay. Close to being done. And the next project is then the project I stitched on a lot during December, because this is Mini Cinderella. It's artwork by Alexandra Daw. And during the last week of December, I only stitched on this one. I did not stitch a lot because I did not have a ton of time. But when I stitched on this one because I want to finish it soonish. It is the closest of my full coverage projects to being done, so I want to concentrate on this one a bit more. Here's a picture of what it looked like at the beginning of 2022. And this is it now. It was started on the 20th of August in 2019. My stitch count goal last year were 5,000 stitches. As I said, a bit more on that one. I think in the end I did about 2,000 more, so more or less 7,000 stitches. It is stitched on a 28 count light blue even weave. I'm stitching 1/1 4 crosses. Needleminder is from Lenka Designs. And with this one, I have the first 5 pages done. So the first 4 pages in the top row and the first page on the second row, which is page number 5. Those are all done. The remaining 7 pages, I basically pick the first color highest up, left to right, that's missing on the page, do 1 length of thread, and then I move on to the next page and do the same thing on that next page, and so on. So I get progress in everywhere in the project, basically. So yeah, that's that. As I said, probably the closest full coverage project to being done. I think I have about 14,000 stitches to a finish. So I want to concentrate a bit more on that one this year to hopefully finish it sometime in 2023. Okay, 2 more whips left. Not that much. Both are supersized max color. Yeah, so the first one is supersized max color cliffhanger. The artwork is by Amy Stewart. This is going to be the finished piece, and it's just so beautiful. So yeah, let me show you a picture of what it looked like beginning of 2022 here. And this is where I got to. So this is stitched on 40 count Newcastle linen. I'm stitching 1/110 stitches. So basically those are normal Heaven and Earth Designs pages, but they're just super tiny because the fabric is so tiny. This one I started on the 7th of October in 2019, and this year I did about 4,000 stitches on this one. You can see that I'm stitching this page by page, but not pages next to each other. Basically, I started in the top left corner, I stitched that first page, and when I was done, I had a tiny decisions wheel, and I put those 3 pages in because I could reach all of those pages without counting, directly or diagonally. And then I let the app decide which page I'm stitching on next. So it shows that page down here. So after I was done with that page, I put those pages in to that same wheel as well. And I think back then it shows that page, something like that. Now all those pages that are touching what I have already stitched are in that tiny decisions wheel, and whenever I finish the page, I let the wheel decide to which page I move on. So yeah, that's the way I stitched this project, which is a lot of fun. I think this year I finished 1 page and started on the next one, so not a lot of progress, but with only 4,000 stitches, that was to be expected. That is the case when you prioritize your oldest projects and your newest projects are the biggest ones. And then you just don't get a lot of progress on those other projects. So that's one of the reasons I decided to go with the rotation I now have for 2023. I'm going to talk about that in a bit. But yeah, that's one of the reasons why. My last project is supersized max color Once Upon a Fairy Tale. Artwork is by Amy Stewart and charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And it's good that it's my last project because the light is getting bad. So here's here's a picture of what it looked like in the beginning of 2022. And this is where I'm at with it now. This is also stitched on a 40 count Newcastle linen 1/110 stitch. Needleminder is from Lakeside Needlecraft. And this was started on the 1st of January in 2022 as my New Year, New Start, which means this one has its 3rd birthday today. It only got 3,000 stitches over the course of last year, which is just not a lot. So I'm really hoping to do some more this year on that one. Yeah, bring it a little bit closer because the detail is amazing. It looks so good. I can't wait to stitch some more on that one. So, yeah. Also, one of the reasons I really want to have another rotation this year, because 3,000 stitches a year on this one means I never finish it, and I really want to finish it. So, yeah. Hopefully more this year. Okay. Packing it away now, because as I said, the light is getting super bad. And I think I have to rearrange everything a little bit again. So I'm going to do that, and I'll be right back with my plant section. So yeah. So now let's move on to my plans for 2023. This is the part where there's a lot of talking and not that much projects to see. And it's totally fine if you just switch off and be fine with the Wip Parade and don't need the plant section. That's fine for me. Nevertheless, I'm going to talk about my rotation now. This year is called Year of Equality or Year of New Starts. I'm still not sure which one. I couldn't figure out how to combine them, so we're going with both. Over the last year, I finished close to half, or finished nearly half my whips. So from 18, I went down to 10. All of the whips I have left are all full coverage projects. So I really do need a few new starts to have some non-full coverage projects again, to have some projects I can use as travel stitching, because at the moment I just don't have that. And I want that. So that's kind of the reason I need Year of New Starts. I already said it at the end of my whip section. A few of my projects did not get a lot of stitches last year, because I wanted to concentrate on other ones, on my older ones, and therefore the newer ones just did not get a lot of time and progress. And I want to change that. So that's why it's the Year of Equality. Basically, I'm going to have a rotation where I go through all my whips. Each of my whips gets 1,000 stitches, and then I restart the rotation. I want to keep it random. That's why I put all my whips on one piece of paper, and I'm going to pull one piece of paper, stitch 1,000 stitches on that project, and then pull the next one. So I don't get them confused. I actually have 2 of those. So I'm pulling out of those, put it in that one, and then take it. To that rotation, there are 4 exceptions. It's going to get a little bit complicated, but I hope you can bear with me. Exception number 1, travel stitching. Whenever I have started a project that I think is suitable for travel stitching, I'm just going to take it with me whenever I'm out of the house, at work, at a friend's house, wherever I think I have the possibility to stitch, I will take that project and stitch on it. I'm not counting stitches for travel stitching. So, as I said, 1,000 stitches on each of my projects. That means full coverage and non-full coverage. For travel stitching, not counting my stitches. If it happens that my travel stitching project gets chosen on day 1 for stitching at home, and I do 500 stitches. The next day I have an early shift at work, so I take this project with me to work for travel stitching, not counting any stitches. And after work, I have a lot of stitching time left, and I do stitch on that project again. I stitch until I have 500 stitches. So over those 2 days, I then have my 1,000 stitches and put it away. Travel stitching does not count towards any stitch count goals. It's just extra bonus stitching. That's the first exception. Second exception is birthday stitching. For all of my projects, I know when I started them. I know their birthday. So on their birthday, I stitch on that project. So for example, on the 20th of August 2000, on the 20th of August, Mini Cinderella has its birthday. Okay, Mini Cinderella, probably not the best example, because I hope for that birthday I'm already done with the project, but I start project A for the 1000 stitches on the 19th of August. I only get 400 stitches done. Then it's the 20th of August. Mini Cinderella has its birthday. So Mini Cinderella gets that whole day without counting any stitches. And on the 21st of August, so after Mini Cinderella's birthday is done, I go back to project number A and do the last 600 stitches, or however I can get done on that day. Birthday stitching does not count to any stitch count goals, and it always happens on the birthday. It interrupts the rotation, and I just remember or write down how many stitches I already did on that project so far, and then I'm going to continue forward. That was exemption number 2. Exemption number 3 is focus on a finish Sunday. Every Sunday, I stitch on a project, not counting any stitches, where I have a specific goal in mind. It can be a focus on a finish, so I really want to finish that project. It can be a page finish, I really want to get that page done. Or I really want to get that section done, or I want to get this and that done. It does not have to be a complete finish, because there aren't that many projects where I can actually do that. But just some goals on my project I really want to reach, a diagonal finish, stuff like that. Just when I feel a project needs a little bit more extra time, some bonus time, that's going to happen on this focus on finish Sunday. The beginning of the year, I think Mini Cinderella will happen on every Sunday, because I really want to finish that project. So it's going to be my focus on a finish Sunday project for a while. That was exception number 3, and now exception number 4 is the most complicated one. It is WipGo. WipGo is basically a bingo board for your projects, and it's brainchild of Jessie Marie Duster. I think the first time I participated was 2020, so I did that for 3 years now, and I really love it. Over the last 3 years, I had my year-end goals on the WipGo board. That's not going to work this year because I don't have any year-end goals, so I can't do that. Therefore, I decided to go with some other things for my WipGo. For example, 500 stitches in blue, 1000 stitches, a friend's choice, 1000 stitches on my oldest project, 1000 stitches on Fancy Lady, stuff like that. And during this month, I then try to do that on my projects. So far, I think if I'm through with my rotation, before I restart it, I want to do my WipGo squares and then move on with the rotation. I have no idea how long it will take me to go through all of my projects with 1000 stitches each. So during January, I'm kind of trying that out, or if I have to do my WipGo goals in the middle of a rotation. We're going to find that out. So yeah, that's that. Let me show you my bullet journal, and because I have my WipGo board in here. So this is basically the oversight for 2023. How many whips I started in the year with, the starts, the finishes, page finishes. Those are the important things. And then listed monthly. So how many new starts, finishes, and so on I have every month. I have goals over here because I did that table before I realized I don't want to have goals anymore this year. Over here is my WipGo board. As you can see, I already put January over there. I'm going to cross it out whenever I finish it. January's numbers have been called already, so this month I'm doing 1,000 stitches on a project a friend chooses, and 500 stitches in black. I have a friend in mind already. I just have to ask her. That's going to happen the next few days, that I'm going to text her and ask her what she thinks I should stitch on. Her favorite project, basically. Sorry. I've been at this video for about 3.5 hours now, and my voice is getting a little bit dry. So down here I have another table with all my full coverage projects, and basically the percentage I've already done and the stitches I've already done at the start of the year and at the end of the year, and how much overall I did then. So that's basically the oversight. My month pages look like that. There's going to be February down here as well, because I don't have that many projects at the moment, so I can put 2 months on one page. Over here are the days of the month, 1 through 31. Here are my projects. This is how many whips I start the month with, and there are going to be how many whips I end the month with. Those blue dates are the dates I stitched on this project last. And then I'm just going to cross in where I stitched. So if I stitched on the first on Supersize Max Color Once Upon a Fairy Tale, that's going to happen with a cross over here. There are different colors, colored crosses. So light green is I stitched on it. Dark green, it's a new start. Orange is I finished a page or a part of that project. And red cross is a complete finish for that project. So let me switch back to one of the other months. Let's just go with this one. July and August 2022. So as you can see, different colored crosses. And then I just put in when I stitched on which. And those yellow marks on the dates are video uploaded. So that's basically my monthly pages in my bullet journal. Just how I keep track of all my stitchings. Yeah, that's that. As I said, it's the year of new starts as well. So at the moment, I plan to do 1 new start every month. A lot of those I have already planned out to know what to do. Others not so much. On some months I know which date I'm going to start them, others not so much. But I have a few lying next to me where I know I want to start them. So I thought I would just show those to you and we'll talk about it a little bit. Because during January, I'm going to start it on the 2nd of January, and it's going to be this one. Those are the raspberries. This is not a whole kit. It's basically the chart and the fabric. And I'm going to stitch it on that fabric, and then it hopefully will end up someday in my kitchen. With new starts, I also want to do 1,000 stitches before I put them away. So, as I said, I'm going to start this on the 2nd of January, and then I'm going to stitch on it as long as it takes me until I have reached 1,000 stitches. Tomorrow is probably a good stitching day, so I hopefully will be able to get that 1,000 stitches done very quickly, and maybe even tomorrow. But that's the plan. So that's my January start. During February, I'm going to start a remembrance piece for my grandpa. I still have to put the pattern into Pick2Pat. I found a picture I want to use on the internet. It's basically a card because that was his favorite poem. So I'm going to stitch that, but I have to figure out the details still. So that's going to happen in February on his first death anniversary. So yeah, that's that. During March, I want to start the Songbirds Garden series by Cottage Garden Samplings. I was thinking about which one for a long time. I have a few of the springy ones as well, but I think I'm going to go with number 1, which is Forever and Ever, because I really, really love this. So I do not have any fabric for that yet, so I have to figure that out. Yeah, I need to find a fabric for this before I start it, but I think I can do that before March. During April, I then want to start the A Year in the Woods series, also by the Cottage Garden Samplings. And the first one will be the fox. I already have the fabric for this one. So if I cannot get the fabric for Forever and Ever fast enough, I just switch those and start the fox in March and Forever and Ever in April. Yeah. During May, I then going to start this kit by Luca S. The poppies, because that's in May is going to be the first death anniversary of my grandma, and I want to stitch that for her. And yeah, so that's going to be started in May. Yeah. During June, I have my birthday, and over the last 2 years, I got a pattern and fabric from a friend of mine as my gift. And now I want to start that pattern on that fabric for my next birthday. Pattern is Princess Ileana by Mirabilia. It's so beautiful. I still have to figure out if it fits on the fabric. I'm not sure about that yet, but I'm going to do that hopefully soonish. I kind of wanted to have the last few days of December to figure everything out. That's not yet figured out. And I ran out of time. So I'm going to do that over the next few weeks. During July, I will then participate in Christmas in July, and I'm going to start the Advent Animals by Brooks Books and start one of those animals every day. I have them downloaded. They are freebies on her website, but I haven't printed them out, so I can't really show you at the moment. So during August, there should be the World Cross Stitch Day again. So I'm going to start my first ever mill hill, and I'm going to start I Love Stitching. Very cute. And as I said, it's my first mill hill, so I really want to try that out. And therefore I'm going to start that one during August. In September, I'm going to start my big toe designs I had for a long time. It probably is really good for travel stitching, so that's one of the reasons I decided to start this. And it says, this is not hoarding, it's called retirement planning. And I think we all have probably quite a big stash. I certainly do. So that's really nice. Going to start it in September. During October, I want to start a Halloween piece on Halloween. So I'm going to start this one by Nora Corbett. It's part of the Bewitching series, and this one is called Minerva. So I'm going to start her on October. And then I have November and December not figured out yet, because depending on what I can do, depending on if I finish some full coverage pieces, if I finish others, if I finish my mill hill, I might want to start a new mill hill, stuff like that. Then I'm going to switch in my November and December starts. I don't have to plan out the whole 2023 now. There are a few things I have in mind that I would like to start, but I just haven't gotten around to do that yet, and that's totally fine. That's a year from now, or close to a year from now. So I don't have to figure everything out now. But yeah, those are the general plans for 2023. I hope you understood everything I wanted to tell you. If you have any questions, be free to pop them below. I will gladly answer. I just might take some time. But yeah, you can always ask if you have any, if you want to start any of those projects with me, or if you have any suggestions of starts I should do, maybe stuff I know, or I think I have, or I have, but I totally forgot about them. That's what I want to say. Just let me know, and we can maybe start something together, or anything like that. So far, that's my plan for next year. Now I'm going to take another short break because I really need to drink something, and then we talk about my plans for next week until I'm back with my next update video. Okay, really quickly, plans for today and until my next update video. Today I'm going to stitch on Supersize Max Color Once Upon a Fairy Tale. It's its birthday and therefore I'm going to stitch on that one today. Hopefully getting started soonish so I can actually get something done. Tomorrow, as I said, I'm going to start my kit, my raspberries project. My first start in over a year. Very excited. So that's going to be a new start tomorrow. Hopefully soonish getting 1,000 stitches done. Then I'm going to start my rotation. So I thought the first project I could pull out of my rotation box together with you, as I don't know how much I can actually get done every day and how long it will take me to do 1,000 stitches on all of my projects. I'm not doing any planning sections in my videos anymore because I don't know. It's random. So I thought the first one I can pull together with you. We'll see what my first project will be. And after 1,000 stitches on this one, I do 1,000 stitches on the next project. And if I get to another project afterwards, I'm going to pull one on my own without you being there. So this one's open. Let's mix it again. Let's take this one. This one says Supersize Max Color Cliffhanger. So after 1,000 stitches on my raspberries, I'm going to do 1,000 stitches on my cliffhanger. And then we'll see if there will be any more projects or not. But coming Sunday, I will then stitch on Mini Cinderella for Focus on a Finish Sunday. So that's my plans for next week. And that's my plans for 2023 and all the things I wanted to tell you. So I hope you enjoyed. As I said, if you have any questions, if something was hard to understand, English is not my first language. So that would be totally understandable. And you can always ask. I will try my very best to explain it again or to put it in the comments in a way you can understand. Feel free to answer. I will come back to you and yeah, answer. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed and I will see you in about a week for my next update video. Bye!